Okay, today we are going to start learning about counting. How do we understand that questions related to the counting, how to identify them? So they might ask you how many? How many? Okay, or they will ask you count. Okay, or they can ask you find the number of. So these are the three synonyms when I see in a question paper, in a question, I'll understand that they're asking me about counting. What are they? They might ask you how many students are from India or how many students are from US. Count the number of people who got A star. Find the number of people who got A star in mathematics, right? So many, count, and number of, these are the synonyms that will indicate us that this question came from, is that based on counting. So what does it mean by counting? When we are talking about how many, so we understand that it is increased by 1, always. Always it will increase by 1. Okay, unless the question paper asks you it will increase by 2. Okay, normally counting always increase by 1. Okay, and this is the condition 1. And second thing, that counting is always depends on condition. You remember that in totaling, it will increase randomly and by default will not depends on condition. So what is the difference between totaling and counting? Totaling increase randomly, counting increase by 1. Totaling does not depend on condition by default. Counting always depend on condition. Okay, so what does it mean by condition? Condition means mathematical condition. So we have to use mathematical operator, okay, logical operator to understand, to solve the counting related questions. So let's start with the one. For example, okay, before that we have to understand that we have to let's start with a question, then it will be clear to you. Okay, so in my class some students are greater than 16 years old, and some of them and rest of them, okay, rest of them are less than or equals to 16 years old. Good. So total student, number of students, for example, in your class are 20. Now we need to find out how many students for each group. In short, we can say how many students are there for greater than 16 years old and how many are less than or equals to 16 years old. So first of all, by looking at the question, we have to understand that what are the different types, how many groups of people are here. So we can understand that there are two types of people. These are the students. All are students, but students are divided into two groups. One is less than or equals to 16 and the other is greater than 16. So how you recognize that he's 16 years old or less than 16 years old, or he is greater than, student is greater than, she or he is greater than 16 years old? You have to ask question. All right, that question is called the condition. Based on what you will decide. So based on age, you will decide, right? So age is the variable. Based on the age, I will decide that whether he is 16 or less than 16, or whether he is greater than, whether the student is greater than 16. Okay, so if the student is greater than 16, so I need another variable which will store that value. And initially, for example, I said my variable name is greater. At the beginning of the counting, total number of students who are greater than 16 are 0. So this greater is a variable which will hold the value of how many students greater than 16, right? And we have another value which is called smaller, for example, or can write small. The total number of students who are small. Small means here, small representing what? Small representing the number of students who are less than or equals to 16. Clear? So these are the initialization that we have to do. How many times I will ask the question? As we have 20 students, we have to ask this question 20 times. What is your age? What is your age, right? So I need a loop. So once the student give me the answer of his age, about his age, then I will decide whether he is less than 16 or less than or equals to 16 or greater than or equals to 16. Right? So I need a loop. Then I will ask the question, that is the input. And then I will put that age, I will calculate it. Okay, what is your age? If it is greater than or greater than 16, greater will increase by 1. If it is less than or equals to 16, then small will increase by 1, right? Okay, and counting always increase by 1, and it can be decreased by 1 also. For example, you have 10 items, you want to sell these items. So your items, once you sell one item, it will decrease by 1, right? It can be decreased or increased by 1. Okay, so let's start. So this is the line number 1. Initialization is done. Initially, how many students greater is the variable that holds the value of how many students are greater than or equals to 16. Small is the variable that holds how many student age is less than or equals to 16. We need a variable. It's this kind of container. Okay, so this is the container for greater, the people who are greater than or equals to 16. This is a container for the student who are less than or equals to 16. So initially this value is 0. This value is 0. A student greater than 16. So 0 plus 1 turns into 1. Then it will be 2, maybe 3, 4. Finally, maybe out of 20 students, maybe we'll get 12 students are greater than or equals to 16, and 8 students are less than or equals to 16. Right? So let's do it. As we know that we have to ask question 20 times, and we have to run the loop 20 times. So count equals to 1, 2, 20. Okay, this is easiest example, right, where the logic is easy. Next question, we will see something we can use mathematical logic. Now input age, because based on the age only I can decide whether in which group the student will fall into. Then if the age of the student is greater than 16, then greater is greater plus 1. Okay. Else if age is less than or equals to, we can use only else, but I want to show you the whole thing. Okay, less than or equals to 16, then small equals to small plus 1. We need to close them, and if and if. That's it. Right here, next count. I'll print. Now we can print two statements in the same time. The students greater than, or number of student greater than 16 is greater, comma, then you can write here number of student less than or equals to 16 is small. That's it, job done. Okay, how it works? Simply, it's very simple. So count is 1. So I'll go inside. I'll ask the student, what is your age? The first student, what is your age? He said, my age is 18, for example. 18 greater than 16? Yes. So greater will increase by 1. So you can write in this way. Here is a count. Here is a greater. Here is a smaller. Simple. And here is your age. Okay. So count is 1. You said your age is 18. So here your age is 18. So 18 is greater than 16, yes. So G was 0 at the beginning, small was 0 at the beginning, greater than, so greater value will increase by 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Then age is 18 is less than or equals to 16. No, so nothing will happen here. Next count is now 2. You ask the next student. He said my age is 16. So 16 is greater than 16. No, so it will not work. 16 is less than 16. No, but it's equals to 16. Yes. So I'll go inside here. So small will increase by 1. Then count is 3. Next count is 3. You will have to input age again. Count is 3. 3 is less than 20, right? So I'll go inside the loop. So your age is 15, for example. So 15 greater than 16? No. 15 less than 16? Yes. So small will increase by 1, 2. So likewise, it will go on. Finally, when we reach to 20, maybe we'll come to know that maybe number of students who are greater than or equals to 16 or 12. And here is 8. That's it. And when count is 21, I will come outside the loop. I will print here number of students greater than 16 is, it will print like this, 12. And number of students less than or equals to 16 is, it will print here 8, for example. Okay, depends on the value given by the user. Okay, so this is one thing that we need to understand. How do we count? So counting basically increase or decrease by 1 and always depends on condition. So let's do one, for example, here. You are saying you input 20 numbers. Input 20 numbers. Find how many are odd and how many are even and how many are positive. Now you see here, how many are odd and even, these are related with each other, and how many are positive. For that one, we need to use another loop, another condition, right? So how many types of number we have? First of all, we have to recognize that. So we have 20 numbers. So some are odd, some are even, and some are positive, right? So we need 3 containers to save each of them. Okay, and we need to know mathematical logic also, how to prove a number is odd or even. So at the beginning, we write here odd equals to 0, even is 0, and total number of positive is 0. We have to give meaningful name. Don't write O only. So at least give odd. You can write odd underscore number even underscore number. In short, we can write odd, even, and positive. Number, the name of the variable should be meaningful. Okay. And how many times I need to check? 20 times. So for count is 1 to 20. So input based on what I will, based on number I will decide the type of the number. So that's why input will be the number. Now my number, if my number mod or modulus by 2 and result is equals to 0, that means it's an even number. What does it mean? For example, your input number is 6. So 3 into 2 multiplied by is 6, result is 0. So modulus operator is focusing on remainder. The remainder is 0. That means 6 is an even number. Then what will happen here? Even is equals to even plus 1. Okay. Then else if your number is mod by 2 and is equals to 1. For example, 5. So for even number, if you divide the number by 2, modulus will be always 0. For odd number, if you divide by 2, it will be always 1. So 2 multiplied by 2 is 4, result is 1. All right. So it is odd equals to odd plus 1. Else if the number is greater than 0, okay, then we'll consider it as a positive number. So positive will be increased by. All right, that's it. So how many if we use? We use 3 if, and if, and if, and if. That's it. Then we go for the next count. We have to understand what should be inside the loop, right? So inside the loop, let's discuss it again a bit. For example, what I need to do, what things need to be repeated. I have to input a number. I have to check whether the number is odd, or where is the number is even, or where is number is positive. So out of these 3, the number will fall into groups, right? Then I have to go for the next count. Next count means I have to introduce the next number. Again, I have to need to check where the number is even, or number is odd, or number is positive, right? So these 3 things and inputting the number, how many times I need to do? Because I have 20 numbers, so I have to do it 20 times. It's clear? So we have to understand very clearly that which things should be inside the loop. For example, which things should be not out inside the loop. For example, at the end, we have to write how many numbers are even, how many are odd, and how many are positive. So that printout should not be inside the loop, right? Because at the end, when you finish your counting, then only you can decide. You have to write the conclusion. So conclusion will write only once, right? So here is print number of odd is odd. For example, number of even is even, comma. This syntax you have to remember, okay? This is double quotation. Statement is in the double quotation. After double quotation, it will be followed by a comma. Then the name of the variable. You cannot change the name of the variable, okay? Then comma. Then you have to give the statement, comma, then variable name, again comma, if you have multiple statements. Then number of positive, here, then comma, then pause. That's it. Okay, so in the same way, how many variables do we have? Here is your count. Here is your number. Here is odd, even, positive. Right? So count is 1. You input 5. 5 is even. No. 5 is odd. Yes. So odd will increase by 1. 5 is greater than 0. Yes. So positive will also increase by 1. Then count is 2. You input 10. 10 is odd. No. 10 is even. Yes. It will check the condition here. Do the calculation. And it's positive. Yes. So positive increase by 1. So like this way, it will go till 20. So after 21, the loop will be done and we'll come to know how many numbers are odd. For example, out of 20, 5 numbers are odd, 15 numbers are even, right? And total number of positives. For example, it can be, all can be positive or depends on the user input. So that's the end of your fourth lecture. So this is very important. In summary, counting increase or decrease by 1. Counting always depends on condition. Okay, and how to solve counting type of question, how can I understand it's a counting question? I will check whether they ask me the keyword in the question paper will be how many, or find the number of, or counting, or count. Okay, thank you very much for watching.